Hey everybody, it's me, Lawrence Prezman, the Prez. It's Friday, stoppage time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Nick Borrman with us at Borrman00, Carmine Bianco at Carmine Double T, and Kevin Dolan, the Irishman, the Sports Wolf 83. And let's start with you right off the bat, Kev. Give us a joke.
Two neighbours are talking over a garden fence. And one guy says to the other guy, he says, look, he says, I'm not telling you what to do, but really, you got to close the curtains when you're making love to your wife. He says, because the whole neighbourhood was on the street yesterday and they were all laughing at you. And the other guy says, well, the joke's on them because I wasn't even home yesterday.
Okay, I got that one. Good joke, Kev. Speaking of which, how are you, dude? How's your week been?
Good. I mean, things are going well over here in Ireland at the minute. Pubs are open. Everybody's happy again. Just enjoying life at the minute.
Well, that's nice to hear. Carmine Bianco, what's going on with you, brother? We're going to see you Wednesday. Finally, we're going to play some poker together.
Yeah, it's now that we're allowed to get together in, I guess, groups of 8 or less. You're graciously hosting a pool party, that great pool you have. You're going to heat up for us, and we're going to play some poker, and everyone's kind of bringing their own food or some food, so almost like a potluck. It's going to be good. Tons of food, tons of gambling, and some swimming.
Yeah, and Kevin and Nick, you're both invited. Nick Borrman, a new hairdo today. Looking very sharp, dude. You got this Kevin Costner thing going. I like it.
All I did was get out of bed, and then it is pouring here. I'm looking out the window right now. It's pouring here, and I have this barbecue going on tomorrow. And I've been outside this morning, getting tables, chairs, not putting them out, but getting them dropped off and getting them kind of staged. And so basically, this is just a wet hair, ungroomed, looking like crap. So I'll take it. It's a compliment. I'll take it. Thanks, bro.
So how many people are coming to your barbecue?
We got about 50.
Oh, my God. 52.
Yeah,
Carm, we're driving. We'll leave tonight.
Oh, yeah. That sounds good.
We got everything. We got pool. We got cornhole. We got volleyball. We got basketball. We got any kind of game, you name it. And tons of food.
Carm and Kevin, is I'm paying Nick too much.
It's on the wife's down.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Stoppage Time. More War. I haven't seen your name before. Nice to see you. Connor Mascalo. Nice to see you too, my friend La Maguina. What's going on? Elray, Jake, thank you for the shout out on the pink shirt. I personally like it as well. And Connor seems to think that we should start the show walking on with our favorite stuffed animal. Mine would be a platypus, I guess.
Platypus?
Well, it's confused as shit. It's got ADHD in its core. Probably most resembles me.
All right.
So if anyone's got a platypus stuffed animal and they want to send it to me, I will happily walk onto the show with it. Kev, UFC on Saturday night. Huge fight. Any bets on it?
No, it's actually one of the few cards because we've actually been doing all right. I was actually reviewing the plays that we put out in free on Twitter, and we're like 5-1 over the last 6. So it's been a nice little run, but I couldn't see any value in this card. I'm so looking forward to the main event because that's just, it's just a must watch. But I just can't bet it. I just can't because it's too short notice on both sides. But really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night of fights, that's for sure. Okay, boys, let's get to soccer. Busy weekend, 26 games in total. Spain, Italy, and England. We're going to look at them all. And Kev, we're going to you first, my friend. Norwich will be relegated with a loss or a draw, while West Ham are 3 points above the relegation line. So really a big game for both these teams, man. Where are we going with it?
Yeah, I can't even blame Carmine this week for a bad game because I chose this one for the simple fact that the game that I was given is going to be my 5% play. So I didn't want to talk about it and give the game away. I love that play, but Yeah, I chose this game. West Ham and Norwich. Look, interesting relegation battle here. 16th place West Ham take on 20th place Norwich. Norwich rooted firmly to the bottom of the table. You know, Norwich are all but sunk at this stage of the competition. So it'll be interesting to see what mentality Daniel Farke's men come out with here, especially considering the language he came out after the Watford game. And it wasn't very positive, his post-match press conference. He was basically called it, you know, very tough, and, you know, I don't know how we're going to get back up for the next game. You know, it was kind of very lackluster kind of language from a head coach of a game. Saying that, you know, we all know now, yeah, they're all but sunk, but single points simply aren't enough for Norwich here. And with Chelsea, Burnley and Man City, their remaining fixtures, it's, you know, this game's possibly their only chance of a win, as despite already beating City and Burnley this season, a repeat performance of those results looks extremely unlikely, considering the way Norwich have been playing over recent weeks. I have to say, though, they were unlucky not to get something against Watford on Tuesday night, because I thought they played decently for the most part in that game. But, you know, for all that they might have played decently, they've had just one league win since January. So it's very hard to be inspired approaching this game about Norwich's chances, because, you know, the line's only set at plus a half a goal. So, you know, one win since January. I don't know how you can exactly trust them in that spot. On the flip side, West Ham also, we had a 5% midweek best bet on Burnley plus a half, which cashed. But watching the game, I felt West Ham were arguably unlucky not to get something. They had at least three that stand out. A clear cut in front of goal. They couldn't get the job done. Obviously, you know, me and Nick especially talk about XG, Carmine too. Their XG was far higher than Burnley in that game. As we said, they had numerous clear-cut chances in front of goal. Antonio and co, they couldn't find the back of the net, so Burnley took home a 1-0 win. And, you know, approaching this game, you know, it's kind of a funny line, because this line opened up earlier in the week at West Ham minus quarter goal. You know, West Ham lose to Burnley, but their effort must have been so good, actually, because the line has since moved to a half a goal. Money's poured in on the Hammers. I don't think it's money based on how good West Ham are. I think it's money obviously fading this doomed Norwich side. But look, my money won't be among them. You look at West Ham's road record; they're it's just trash. West Ham are just 1-1-8 over the last 10 road games, and over that span, they've been outscored 19 goals to 7 in those matchups. In half of their last 8 road league fixtures, they've failed to even score a single goal. And they've also conceded in 14 straight league matches as well, with 2 or more goals coming in 9 of those 14 games. Look, West Ham need a win here to ensure they remain safe from the drop zone for another season. But Norwich have plenty, you know, Norwich have pretty much already resigned themselves to going down. But that might actually be a positive. That might suit them here. They're not scrapping for points. They can go back to playing with the kind of abandon that saw them beat City earlier in the season and go toe-to-toe, 3-2 against Chelsea. They opened up this season playing like that. They had to change to try and get points. But with them all but sunk, they might go back to playing with that kind of attacking mentality. If they do, it's a stay-away game from me. Tentatively into the over, because if Norwich do go back to that style, there could be goals in this one. West Ham are not particularly good at the back. So I do see a few goals in this one, but from a side perspective, it's going to be a no play from me.
Yeah, nothing better than giving out a pick with a no play.
Over 2.5.
That was a slight lean. Before we get into Carmine and Nick's thoughts on that play, this is my dog. Her name is Vegas, and it is her 15th birthday today. So Vegas is 15 today, which is, in dog years, extremely freaking old. But hopefully she'll last a little longer, because I love this damn thing. Carm, red card, yellow card, or no card on the fact that there was nothing given out there?
Maybe yellow card on the fact that, but he squeezed in an over 2.5.
Yeah,
so
somewhere in that
I'm going to go to VAR.
Soliloquy, we had a lean to the over.
I'm going to go to VAR and take away the yellow card because he squeezed in the 2.5 there. But Norwich has looked terrible all season, but especially since the restart. They've only scored 1 goal since the restart. They've been outscored 8-1 since the restart. I think their best game since the restart was the FA Cup quarterfinal against Man United that Nick and I used as our first in-game betting show.
Yep.
This is one of those games where just the managers just say to the team, go out there, attack, play free flowing. I don't care if you guys lose 1-0 or 5-0. Just go out there and have fun because you're going down anyways, right? So you might as well have fun in your last few games before you do it.
You can't have fun going down. You got issues.
I set that one right up for you.
Go on, Carm.
No,
That's it. Nick Borrman with his beautiful looking hair. What are your thoughts?
I agree on the over. Two really, really bad defenses. West Ham is actually, according to expected goals, the second worst defense in the league behind Villa. And it's hard to trust them laying anything on the road or not. No fans or not. I don't like West Ham as far as the side goes. I'd actually lean towards Norwich getting the double chance on the draw or a win with, Kevin alluded to it a little bit, with kind of no stress in a way that perhaps they play a little better here versus West Ham must win, could be a little tougher in that regard, but I like the overplay here. The side is not as confident, but I would go towards Norwich if I was choosing the side.
There you go. Nick Borrman, Carmine Bianco, Kevin Dolan, all found at WagerTalk.com. Lots coming up at WagerTalk.com, including due to a huge influx of demand. Teddy Covers and I will be doing a 1-hour show. It starts in give or take 2 weeks. It'll be every day from 12 p.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern. It'll be the show before puck time when hockey starts. So make sure to check that out. It'll be called Wager Talk Today. Teddy Covers and myself, 1 hour every day, Monday to Friday. Put that in your calendar. Thanks for the shout out to Vegas, La Maguina. Jake Hurwitz wants to know, is there a UFC show this week? Well, there wasn't one on Straight from the Strip. Gianni had some stuff to do. Kyle did tape a UFC show. Sent it in. We think it's phenomenal. He forgot to take himself off of mute, so we don't specifically know if it's phenomenal. But you can watch it. You just can't hear it. But I'm sure there are a lot of people who would be just as happy watching Kyle than hearing Kyle, because that guy is a stud. So the bottom line, Jake, is no, there is not. Carm, you're going to start watching Hannah. My latest recommendation it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Hannah. It is one of the best shows I've watched in a while, and she is such a badass. You're going to like it a lot, dude. There are 2 seasons in, 8 episodes a season. When you starting?
Probably next week. I have 2 episodes left of season 2 of a series I've been watching called You on Netflix, and it's I like it. It's about a stalker, and just this guy who every episode, obviously continues on, but it is just well, I think it's well written, well put together, and it just sometimes the most innocent people are the ones that you least suspect, and that's definitely the case here. But it's a pretty good show. Season 2 is just about done, and then we'll delve into Hannah.
Excellent. Keep us posted, bro. Okay, North London Derby. One of our listeners put up Oblivion Sports getting ahead here, but Arsenal this weekend. Spurs have looked poor recently. Well, that's the game we're talking about. Arsenal travel to face Tottenham. There's no love lost between the supporters on these sides. A 2-2 draw last time they played. Carm? Take it away, baby.
Yeah.
And next time you send me notes, you might want to actually put that's your game. Just saying. Just saying. Or maybe I can do some actual prep before the show.
Sure. That too. Sure. But usually we go in the rotation of Kevin, Carmine, and
and you
Nick.
think I have noticed that before?
Probably not. But you're you're in tune with things. I figured you would.
I know.
Anyways, with that said, it's the North London Derby. Obviously, I'm going to miss the fact that there aren't fans here. I think I mentioned it in our last show, because this is the game that Nick and I will be doing on Sunday for the live in-game betting stoppage time show. So tune in. A half hour before the show, we will put up our plays so you know what we're taking pre-game, and then we'll put up our in-game ones. But listen, these are two sides that are currently, if you're looking at fourth place, they're 9 and 10 points behind Leicester right now for that fourth spot, which is Champions League spot. So a lot of work to do to try and get there with only 4 games left. But on Monday, the decision comes down on Man City on whether they're going to be banned from the Champions League. If that is the case, fifth place now becomes a Champions League spot. So still very much up for grabs as far as that goes. But this is Tottenham's third game in 7 days. A good game, obviously, at home against Everton on Monday. Not so good game the other day, Thursday, against Bournemouth. Actually, a little unlucky. The league has come back and said that we're very sorry, but a penalty should have been awarded to Tottenham on the play. VAR got 3 of them wrong yesterday, and the league admitted to it. 3 penalties that either should have been given or shouldn't have been given. So Tottenham kind of lose out on a couple points there. Arsenal, for the Heckle and Jide that this team has been throughout the year, they played quite possibly.
They rhyme.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Jekyll and Hyde. I said I don't know what it is. Anyways, and neither do they. Anyways, with that said, they played quite possibly the best 45 minutes of football I have seen on Monday against Leicester, and then unfortunately, once again, a card in the second half, red card on Nketiah. He's been suspended 3 games for a stud's first kind of tackle 2 minutes after he came on as a substitution, and they held on for dear life and ended up in a 1-1 draw. They deserve better. That would have been 4 wins in a row for them, and quite possibly 4 clean sheets. They're playing really well right now, but going to Tottenham isn't always the greatest thing. This is one of those games where I don't know what happened to the Spurs last game, but they probably deserved to win. This is one of those ones where they drew 2-2, and it wouldn't surprise me if this is a draw again. The one thing I am leaning to here as your selection is over 2.5. I think it's good enough to 3. These teams will score. They can score. And when I look at the expectancy for this game, based on my system numbers, I have it going over the total of 2.5. So that's where I'm going with my free play for everyone out there.
Nick Borrman, red card, yellow card, or no card for Carm?
No card on the total. I think over 2.5's a solid play. I mean, it all depends on that first goal. We talk about that often, but if it takes a while to come, we may change our mind on that, and we'll talk about that during the game, of course, while we do that live show. But I kind of lean a little bit, as Carm was mentioning, to the side Arsenal. Just because I think they've been playing very, very well, which I don't think any of us have talked about backing Arsenal, or maybe have backed Arsenal this entire year, because what'd you say, Carm? Heckle and Jide?
Yeah.
As the Jekyll and Hyde team that they are not a team you can trust to back. And of course they blew it again against Leicester. But I just think, as he mentioned, they're playing very, very well. Good plus money price on them to win the game. It's a draw no bet, or a +0 on the pick'em line is a safe way to play them just to protect against the draw. So I like Arsenal on the side right now at the +0. I probably want to sprinkle a little bit on the money line too, and we'll talk about that before the game during our live betting game show. But no card for me. I like the over.
Sports Wolf 83. What do you think, brother?
Well, firstly, I'll just say shout out to Oblivion Sports, the second best handicapper in Ireland. Good job, sir. Yeah, look, I kind of I might make this a play, because I like when this line opened up. It opened up Arsenal plus a quarter goal. I was a bit late to the party. It's since, as Nick said, gone down to just a split line. And money, I'm hoping there's a bit of buyback on Tottenham, because if it goes back to Arsenal plus a quarter, I'll definitely play it. Yeah. We just seen a meltdown, and like Tottenham Monday night, the altercation between Hugo Lloris, Song Heung-min. Mourinho comes out after the game. I love to see that. And like, what do you talk? Like, how do you love to see two of your players arguing on international TV with millions of people watching. Like what? Like it's a crazy system. He's imposed. He's not playing the right system in my opinion.
Hasn't
I know it's
played
very
the
easy
right
for me to sit
system
here
in
and go
10 years.
Exactly. He's far too.
I mean,
like,
it's
the figures
absurd.
are right here. 0.48 expected goals average against Bournemouth, who are one of the third worst defense in the league. The game before that, 0.51 xG. He's forcing these players, and that's why that argument started. Hugo Lloris was having a go at Son Heung-min for not backtracking. Like, what kind of system is this for Son Heung-min's an attacker, for God's sake? He shouldn't have to backpack. There was actually a stat in the second half of their last week. Harry Kane didn't get a touch on the ball until like the 70th minute. Like it's a nut system. Like Harry Kane should be fed the ball consistently. He's not playing players like Bergwijn, Sessegnon. He's got some fantastic young players. Arteta's playing his boys, Nketiah, Saka, Tierney. But Mourinho's stuck in the 50s. He's in the twilight zone of 15 years ago. And he's took over a team that doesn't suit his managerial style. Very like Manchester United, limiting Paul Pogba. I think Arsenal's all the value in this.
Kev, in all seriousness, the only team that Mourinho could fit with Greg Louganis as his assistant coach would be the Italian team. I mean, a whole lot of diving taught by the assistant coach and a whole lot of no scoring taught by him.
I would not make fun of the Italian national team because we actually have a very young and upcoming team right now.
You're Canadian.
You're
Canadian.
Okay. We have a very good upcoming team. Mancini. I was born in Guglionese, Campobasso.
That's just to the 20-something kilometers north of Toronto?
It's 45 kilometers south of Abruzzo.
Which is 27 kilometers east of Toronto. Okay.
Listen, 4 years ago, was it 4 years ago? Or no, 14 years ago yesterday, we hosted the World Cup trophy over our heads.
I don't ever remember Canada winning the World Cup trophy.
Carnevado. Whatever.
Kevin, Nick, do you remember Canada winning the World Cup trophy at all? No.
Canada will be in the 2026 World Cup. Did you know that?
Yes, by default. Maybe we should get Mourinho to coach them. That'll work out well. We'll go out there and get 0 goals ever. Yes,
all right.
EAB 927, 4 World Cups. I get it. Nice to see you, though. And Kev, buy Oblivion Sports. Well, I'd say buy him some pints on me. But I know you Irishmen, and I could get like a $4,000 bill for that. So buy him 1 pint on me, Kev. Okay, brother. Guys, we got a promo up. July 50. Same promo we've been running all week at 30 days of any of our expert soccer plays. Nick, Carmine, Kevin, or Pavlos. $149. That's $50 off of the regular price. July 50. Before we get to Nick's game, Carmine Bianco, last we spoke, you were on a 13-1-1 run. What's going on with you?
I'm now 13-11. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not 13-11. But I ended last night with the winner. That was the high point of the day. I've had like 2 or 3 losers in there. So I'm sitting at about 15-4-2 or something like that, or 15-5-2. Still running very well. 5% play loaded for Saturday. I really like this game. So, and a couple games, 3 games going on today. So everything is good. It's been a good month so far, and I'm hoping to continue it on to right into the Champions League and Europa League. And we're going to get to at the end of the show where I'm going to tell the viewers about a very good offer that we've got up for all the cappers.
Excellent. Kevin Dolan, I think you won your 5% recently. I had a shit ton of sales on that, so congratulations. How are you making out?
Yeah, good. I mean, you just highlighted the fact, like, our 5% has been flat. I think we've won 6 of 8. And I was actually checking the other day, it's like 70% lifetime 5% soccer plays at WagerTalk.
Book it.
But last day it hasn't all been fun and games. It's like I think we got 1 and 2 last night, so it's been like the 3% plays have been like a pain in my arse, to be honest. Like, but 5%, no sweat.
Nick Borrman, are you rolling?
Yesterday was a not a good day, but before that, last week was a positive week, and I was doing well this week up until last night. The MLS, I haven't started well in the MLS tournament. 0-3 so far. I hate to say it, but I like tonight's game. My first best bet of the tournament tonight. So hopefully we bounce back today with it.
Okay, well, good luck to all.
You'll get it.
Good luck to all of you guys. Okay, so Abel is starting to noodle us Canadians. That's us Canadians, Carm. Us. He says Mexico will beat Canada anytime in soccer. Yeah.
What?
Canada will beat Mexico anytime in curling. Big whoop. Like, we live in a winter country. I have a pool that's open 4 months of the year. Like, what is your... yes. But with that said, Canada has the best player on the field when playing Mexico now. Would you agree with that, Carm?
Yeah, I most certainly do. And he signed a new contract with Bayern Munich. So good old Alphonse Davies. He's our future. And we've got a couple other young guys on the, so it's not enough for very good players is not enough to, you need a core of players, but they're coming along and they've been showcased in this tournament so far. The MLS is back tournament. We've seen some Canadians there. So I'm enjoying it so far.
We're an up and coming soccer nation, but in all seriousness, Mexico might beat Canada in soccer, but every one of those people would still rather live in Canada. That's not true.
Probably
Mexico's so magnificent. I go there all the time. I absolutely love that country.
Mexico's so great that Buster is now leaving.
Yeah.
He's on his way home at the end of the month, but he's got to quarantine for 14 days before I'll meet him at a pub for some drinks. But Buster, if you're watching, make sure you quarantine, man.
Anyway, Nick, it's your turn, bro. Final game preview, Serie A match. Lazio off of a 3-0 loss. They're at home against AC Milan. Blah, 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 blah. What do you want to happen in this game?
Blah, 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 blah.
I'm not going to read this whole thing, dude. It's like... All
this
I
match for
am is the host in a pink shirt.
It's a good-looking shirt. This match is Sassuolo at Lazio. So I have to believe Lazio get back on track here. By the season-long numbers, they are the play without question. But by current form, you could definitely argue the other way. Lazio has 3 losses in their 5 games since the restart. 2 were not that bad at Atalanta, and that game against AC Milan you just mentioned. The scoreline was ugly, 0-3, but those are the 2 hottest teams in Serie A right now. But their last loss against Lecce was really just inexcusable and embarrassing, and even expected goal numbers they got destroyed on. So that is just completely unfathomable for a team that is in the title race, although they've fallen right down to a point where it's do or die for them because Juve have a 7-point lead on them, I believe, right now. So inexcusable anyway to lose to Lecce as bad as they've been this year. Sassuolo, after that first game loss, they also lost at Atalanta. They've rallied 2 draws, 3 wins, and have climbed all the way to number 8 in the table. But I just don't see any chance that they get a Europa berth, as they're just still a little too far back right now. For Lazio, as I mentioned, this is make or break. It's their one last chance to catch Juve. Juve do have a game where they could drop points this weekend. Carm and I have talked about it a million times. We were hoping to do the live show on it, but I ruined that. But they play Atalanta this weekend, and it's a realistic chance they could drop points, at least with the draw there. So Lazio, if they want any chance of catching them, have to win this game. Quick look at their season-long numbers. Both teams have significantly overperformed their expected goals numbers. Lazio has a 67-33 goal differential, so that's plus 34. But their expected goals tally comes in at 56.6 40.23 to 40.5. So you're talking an 18-goal swing, meaning their expected goal differential is only at plus 16, but still solid. However, Sassuolo have actually overperformed offensively even more. They've scored 57 goals while conceding 53 this year, but their expected goals is only 43, and their expected goals against is right at the same number of 53. So instead of them being +4 in the differential, their expected goal tally has them -10. So even though both teams have overperformed, they've both kind of been level in that stat. So you can still see Lazio is better expected goals on offense. They're better on defense. The only thing going for Sassuolo right now is they seem to be the side in better form, but they're outperforming their metrics behind it. And eventually that catches up. I mean, you can only, streaks are streaks for a reason. They don't last. And if the numbers behind the streaks don't make any sense, you have to expect those things to come crashing down. And I think we're looking at that right here. Lazio, I think they just have to bounce back. I believe they will. The line is one around even money, or you can get -3/4 of a goal. I've seen it as low as -125, definitely about -130. And I think it's worth buying to get the -0.75 line. So at least we can net something if they win by just a goal. But I like Lazio here -3/4 of a goal.
Carmine?
Yeah, I agree with Nick as far as the side. Definitely, I think Lazio has to bounce back. And, I talked about sometimes when a team has won quite a few games in a row and then they lose one, you kind of have to go against them. I did that on Wednesday when I took Verona against Inter, and that game finished in a 2-2 draw. Inter was a goal favorite there, so that was a winner. And the same thing with like this Lazio team. They lost to Milan, and then you don't expect them to lose to Lecce, but they have another bad game. So, I think they bounce back here with a full team. I really like this Cagliari team. They're making a push for that. They're in 8th. They're making a push to stay in the top 10, top half of that Serie A. And I really like their manager. This guy is going to be sought after at some point from some of the other teams. De Serbi, he's got his team. He literally puts his team out to win every game. He does not play that style of, hey, we're playing Juventus. Hey, we're playing Atalanta. Hey, we're playing Lazio. Let's park the bus. No, he goes out there trying to win each and every game. And he'll do the same thing. The one thing they don't have going for them this week, which is why I think Nick's play is a good one, is this team looked gassed in midweek in that game. Yeah, they won. They beat Bologna, but they left a lot on the field, and they have Juventus up next. And sometimes it's all about, when you play the top team in the league, you want to beat them. Prez, it's kind of like in hockey. That Detroit beating, a first place Toronto team, it's like their Stanley Cup. So that's how teams look at it. I think he's going to rest a couple guys, but they're still going to go full out. So it's Lazio for me here, and I would take the over the total as well too.
I gotta go yellow. I'm sorry, Nick.
Okay.
I have to do it. It's because I backed Lazio on Tuesday night, and I've never seen because it bounced back. That was a prime bounce back spot on Tuesday night. They got demolished by AC Milan. I thought, look, that's Lecce, one of the worst defenses of the league. They were absolute rubbish. Even their one goal that they got came with a tap in. It wasn't even a particularly good goal. They got very lucky with the way the goalkeeper was positioned. So Sassuolo, I do agree with Nick. Long term, obviously, you can't keep up a hot streak if they don't agree with the numbers. But short term trends do. I don't want to fade a particularly hot team. And Sassuolo already this season, they've took points off Inter, they've took points off AC Milan, Roma, Juventus. They're well capable of doing it against this out of sorts Lazio team. I'd have to look at Sassuolo, and just like Nick was saying about buying it down, you could also buy it up Sassuolo plus 1.25. I would trust that side more than the Lazio side, but, that's just my opinion.
Oh, well, that's what we asked for. Jake Horowitz, shut up.
I love Jake.
And Carm, yes, I liked the way you said that, brother. Benson, we got to get you a hat. We're actually we're going to be making some more swag soon, so just bear with us. Jared Schrader, I want to speak about what you just said before we get into the Luis Suarez Award and the consensus play of the day. in all sports, we see this, and we see this a lot. And this is no disrespect to Jared, because I don't know anything about the guy, nor whether he wins, he loses, whether he does this for fun or is a professional. I have no idea. But I will say this: whenever you're sitting there saying a team looked awful against another team the week before or the game before, an amateur bettor would bet against that team because they looked awful. A smart bettor would actually bet on that team if they looked better over a bigger period of time. Those are literally the spots that we look for, Jared. Because ask yourself this. Kev, you were on Lazio on Tuesday night, right?
Yeah.
Had they have won, what would the line have been in this game?
Possibly a goal and a half. I don't think there'd be much. Maybe a half a goal difference, just for the fact.
Well, a half a goal difference when you only score 3 is a big deal. And that's the point I'm making. We actually have a chance to bet a team at a better value because they laid an egg the game prior. Those are the spots that we want to find. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean Lazio's going to go out there and win, but we do know that because they laid such an egg on Tuesday, the actual line favors betting on them and not against them. Nick, anything you want to add to that?
Right on the money. I mean, overreactions in the market happen mostly because the public's quick to either jump on a team that's all of a sudden had an upset or fall off a team that just looked like they were terrible. So the market knows that. It prices things. That's where we find our spots. It's like, well, that number doesn't make sense. If I look at a big picture here, this team is much better, and it's a great example you're making.
I will say, though, I don't think you can ignore these short-term trends. If it was one game, because I do like to do this in the NFL, if it's one game, that's fine. But they were 2-0 up against Atalanta. That game, we AC Milan game, we've seen the Lecce game. This isn't just a one-game sample size. Lazio are not fired on all cylinders, and Inzaghi's feeling the pressure. So I do think it's a little bit different. I don't disagree with
you, Kevin. I'm just speaking really in general terms, not so specifically that game. I'm just saying, whenever you're sitting down and handicapping, especially as you said, Kevin, in the NFL, and Carm, we both know this in hockey. I mean, it is just like we go mad. I mean, a team like Boston heads to Tampa Bay, gets beat 6-1, and then the next game is like, oh my God, they played so bad in Tampa Bay, and their back-to-back nights, we're fading them. On a whole, if ever you find yourself saying, I don't want to bet this team because they looked really bad their last game, either bet them or stay off of that game. But don't use that as your reason, Carm.
Yeah, completely agree. And these guys will tell you in our chat group this morning, I told them a couple things. And, I'm looking at, I'm a Juve fan, so I follow the team. I can sense how they're playing on a game-to-game basis and moving forward on whether I want to take them or not. I think they're a play on this weekend, and they're plus 105. And this is a team that people look and they go, well, they just lost 4-2 to AC Milan. They had like a 10-minute blackout in that game. But you have to look at the factors of that game. First game since the break, since we restarted, that Dybala didn't play. He was suspended for yellows. Him and Ronaldo have scored in every single game since coming back. He's not in the offense. More importantly, De Ligt was suspended. They put Rugani in there, who's played very few games. It looked like a deer in headlights, and you can't do that against an AC Milan team that attacks up the middle as a center back. You can't be afraid, and the guy looked afraid. Every time he looked at his Latin, it looked like he's like, okay, I'm going to move out of the way. And for 10 minutes, they were blitzed by AC Milan and lost. But other than that, they had that game in complete control. And had they won that game, they'd probably be about $1.40 on Saturday, and you're getting them at plus 105. That's a 45-cent swing because people are thinking, and I understand Atalanta's a good team, but this is the game where I believe Juve stamps their championship by winning this weekend against Atalanta. And the last thing, and I sent it to these guys, the official for Saturday's game is Piero Giacomelli. He has officiated 13 Juventus games. Their record in those 13 games, 12 wins, 1 draw. So he's a friend of the family, I
Kevin
guess.
and Nick, did anybody ask Carm about Juve?
Here's
just
what
segued right into
That was beautiful. It's like, so tonight, Carm, I'm having lasagna. Carm's response, lasagna?
Don't talk about
Luis
lasagna.
Suarez had lasagna. Speaking of Luis Suarez, Juventus is going to win on Saturday. I mean, you could have gone anywhere.
Yeah. All right.
Jared, I get it, brother. It's all good. You don't need to say sorry. I actually think the point you made really lent itself to a great conversation. And go with what you feel, man. I mean, bet against Lazio. I don't even know where this game is being played. So I just navigate this show.
Rome. It's being played in Rome.
And Jake Horowitz, who invited you to this show?
I did. Welcome, Jake.
Damn you, Carm. Damn you, Jake. We are not here to take the piss out of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
All right, we still have some stuff to go.
Okay, Luis Suarez Award. That's the award we give out every week for somebody who did something stupid. Kevin?
Well, as if I'm not already bored of talking about Lazio, but I got to go back to that game on Tuesday night. Patrick Gabarone's bite on Donati for the red card. I just don't understand it. He bit his shoulder. He was standing behind him, bit his shoulder. It was just one of the most surreal things. Well, it suits the Luis Suarez award, but I don't know why he did it. It was just this is what I'm saying. It's like there's something wrong with this team. It's anyway. That's my pick.
Okay, I did not see the replay of that at all. Did he actually get skin? Was it a full Mike Tyson?
Maybe his arm looked like a panini or something like that.
It was kind of hard to see because there was argument in front of him, and then you could just see him. The camera didn't kind of pick it up, although the guy reacted like he snuck up behind him. It was just the weirdest thing. It takes a nibble on his shoulder.
How long has he been suspended for?
Oh,
he's gotten 3 games, I believe. 3 or 4 games. Yeah, 3 or 4 games.
Oh my God! Am I wrong here? But shouldn't someone just be thrown out of soccer for that?
Listen, TSN, which is the ESPN up here, they had the top 10 after this game. They had the top 10 soccer players taking a bite out of somebody or whatever. And the number 1, and I don't know who it is, because I just saw it in passing. Number 1 is a guy who, after they score, the team jumps on each other, and the guy goes and bites his own player's nutsack.
What?
Yes. He bit his own players. Yeah.
What? Italian?
No. I think it was Mexican. Yeah, it's definitely a Mexican. It has to be Mexican.
Yes.
It's like a hug.
Who gets your Luis Suarez award?
It would be same guy. The Lazio guy there that took a bite out of.
Oh my God, Jake just had his message retracted. Now I'm so curious what he wrote. I love the guy. Jake, you're my favorite person. Nick, who gets your Luis Suarez award?
I'll go with the return of Major League Soccer and first game back. I don't know whether to give it to Dwyer or the official in that game, but basically Dwyer took out Miami's player in the second half with a real bad right to the jugular. The guy was struggling with breathing, but it was kind of a bigger picture play of there were probably 3 instances in the first half where Dwyer should have been definitely given a foul, if not a yellow card, and the official just laid off. And he's a guy that is physical, plays that way, and if you give him any sort of a leash, he's just going to keep going and keep going. He's like a kid, he's going to test his line, and if the official's not keeping him in check, they know the guy, they need to keep him in check. He didn't, and then he, took a guy off the field. I was tweeting to these guys during that game. I literally got up to go take a crap, I'll say, during that time. I come back, gone 2 minutes, right? I come back, there's a dude on the stretcher, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then I catch up to what happened after the fact, and this was it. And it should have been avoided. It could have been avoided. So I'm not sure if I'm giving it to Dwyer or the official, but it seems like it should be the official because Dwyer can be controlled.
I think it's. I give the Luis Suarez award to your crap.
It was well timed.
Inter Miami were in complete control of that game prior to that incident, and that 9 minutes of everyone just standing around watching this player, waiting for him to be taken out on a stretcher and the ambulance to get there. It just completely deflated the team. They weren't the same, and with it, Nick and my bets went down the drain.
Oh,
yeah, 9 minutes.
Go
Went
full
to
circle.
stoppage time, and they scored in stoppage time.
Oh my God, another pun. You guys are rolling today. Kevin, book it. Book it, Kevin.
So, Lawrence,
it.
one last promo for us.
Go ahead, Carm.
If we can. All right, so today was the Champions League draw for anyone who did not see it.
Me. I put my hand up.
I know you were sleeping at 6:30 in the morning when I was watching it, so I definitely know that you didn't watch it. But a crazy draw nonetheless. One side of the draw is absolutely stacked. The winner of the Juventus there, Lawrence. The Juventus-Lyon game will play the winner of Real Madrid, Man City, and then the winner of that quarterfinal will meet the winner of Napoli, Barcelona, Chelsea, Bayern Munich in the semifinals. So an absolutely stacked one side of the bracket. The odds are up. You can find them at your sportsbook. They've got odds up for the Champions League. And with that in mind, here is the promo for Nick, myself, Kevin, or Pavlos. I'm going to have up a Champions and Europa League special package for August. There's 22 games total, 11 in each tournament, leading right up to the finals. $99 gets a selection on every single game of those 22. And then we'll also offer game day betting props within the analysis. And then if we have a side, we'll give you sort of an opinion on a total over under if we like it. If we don't, we're just going to tell you we're passing it on that second play, but we will have game day props. So great package, 22 games, only $99. It'll be up later today on each one of our capper pages.
Excellent, and make sure to tweet it out. I'm loving Connor right now as well. Boys, we don't have a consensus play today. We're talking about the Championship League draw instead, which Carmine just did. Nick, Kev, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I can't wait to watch it. I think right now my favorite is Bayern. They've just looked unbeatable since the return. They're in a break. They came back first, so the one negative against them is now they're off for a couple weeks. But they get a warm-up game against Chelsea, and I say that because they lead 3-0 after the first leg. So it's kind of like they just can go in, get their legs back under them again, and get a kind of a warm-up game before they move on. So Bayern 3-1 right now is where my money's going on a future bet.
I'm going to throw one out. I don't even know what the odds are, but I'm sure they're stacked in my favor. Man City.
No, they're also 3-1.
No,
Yeah.
I want more.
Okay,
forget Man City.
We did the video back in February.
Well,
we did the video back in February in Vegas. So if you go onto the YouTube, scroll down, you'll have to go down a long way. But we did the Champions League look ahead video. I gave out PSG on that show 8-1 at the time. They're down to 5-1 now, plus 550 around. And but I can't say in particularly what with the League One in France not having match fitness and stuff. Atalanta's a tough draw.
I'll tell you, I look forward. Agreed. Hopefully, we'll see Man City against Juve. That'll be a lot of fun. That series, both teams can score.
If you know how to hedge, if you're good at putting bets in and hedging, I have to believe on the other side of the bracket where it's PSG versus Atalanta, and
we're having some internet issues. Oh, Carm, we can't hear you, brother. Hey, boys. We're gonna end the show. We're going to talk Wednesday about Championship League. We're going to throw some picks at everybody then.
They can hear.
They can hear you? Nobody can hear you. So, with that said, we're calling it a show. Love you all. We'll see you Wednesday for stoppage time. Make sure to check out the Pony Pundits at 3 p.m. Eastern with Marco and Sig. You're all awesome. Thank you guys so much. It's a privilege to do this show.